Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Friday morning. Today, we're going to do a little therapy session here. Everybody needs a little therapy once in a while. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Do call in. Do get your dose of therapy today here on the program. Back in a moment. And welcome back to the program here on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. And we are live, of course, as usual on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. But now you can also watch us on 13.1. That's also Me TV. And the replay comes in at, well, 2 o'clock today on YouTube. That's 13.6. And, of course, the replay at 8 p.m. tonight, 13.5, that is Biz TV. So if you missed this one, you know, we're here for the full 60 minutes, 10 to 11 o'clock in the morning, then you can catch the replay. So I mentioned in the tease that we all need a little therapy once in a while. You know, I can go down the list and mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, maybe even your host included, needing a little bit of therapy session here today. Not only do we need it, we're going to get it, whether we like it or not. I want to roll the videotape, my friends, and show you what I'm talking about. Take you out to the Fresno County Courthouse. There it is, the civil court. And that is where mediation takes place. If you've ever been to court, ever been into a situation where you had to go through a divorce, you might have met that lady right there. That young woman, his name is Camille Valentine. She is a mediator, a peacemaker for Fresno Pacific, but contracted with the court to try to provide family mediation services. She is the director of the program, has been since July, newly appointed, my friends, and so she does conflict resolution. You know, I know not everybody goes through a divorce, but a lot of times it happens. In fact, more than 50% of the couples who get married end up in divorce court. So the problem is you have children, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 10. You still have to raise those children in some kind of a, you know, a tranquil environment. And so Camille and her program, they help couples do this. She has created workshops. She has created personal conflict management styles that you can, you know, look at and observe and try to implement yourself at your own home. And basically what this does, my friends, it avoids you going to court and facing a judge. Live in our studio right now is Camille Valentine. She is a mediator. She is a peacemaker for Fresno Pacific. But look right in that camera there, my friend. Yes, there she is. And she is going to help you today answer any and all of your questions. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Camille Valentine is here. She has years of experience in doing this, 3 to 5 years. She also has a master's degree, but she's very pleasant, very knowledgeable in this area. So if you have a conflict, if you have a problem in your life, you can call up and get the therapy session right here. And you know what, my friends? It won't cost you a dime. Call in. We're back in just a moment.
Retro TV, your home for classic television. The greatest shows in history are here for you to enjoy. Join Cosby and Colt as secret agent men in I Spy. Ride along the Ponderosa with the Cartwrights in Bonanza. Hit the beat with Joe Friday in Dragnet. And that's not all. Retro TV offers endless fun and excitement for the whole family to enjoy. Retro TV, the best in classic television.
You can find Retro TV on over-the-air channel 13.4.
We're back here on the program on Connect with Me, and you know, halfway joking, my friends, that we all need. I mean, maybe we all do need therapy to a certain extent. Someone, you know, it's just Camille. Welcome to the program, first of all.
Hi,
But
John. Thank you for having me.
Just somebody that you can just release, get things off your chest. Doesn't that make a difference?
Oh, absolutely. When I am mediating cases with parties and they're coming in, I have what I call my report card, which is an exit evaluation form, and I'm able to gauge how were you feeling when you first walked in and how were you feeling when you left. And I find that people are really hostile when they're walking in, but then when they're leaving, they are much, much more cooperative and more calm and more peaceful. And the process allows them to kind of peel back the top of things so that the steam can be released, essentially.
So what do you mean by that?
Well,
what do you mean
they're
peeling back?
upset.
Peeling back. Okay, so they're upset about what?
They're upset about their current situations. A lot of people are not interested in getting a divorce, and there were conflicts in their marriage that caused them to essentially have to become part of this process, and they don't want to come into the courtroom. They don't want to face a judge. They don't want to fill out the paperwork. It's scary, and they're unfamiliar with the process, and so it's frustrating to them, especially if they don't have the finances.
So is that why they come in upset, and that's why they come in hostile on many occasions? And what do you do to try to calm them down? What is your plan of action?
Well, for many reasons they're in my office, and a part of the problem is that, you know, they really probably still love the other person, and I always ask every case, is there any hope for reconciliation? My job, first and foremost, of course, is to try to see if I can save these marriages in my company with Valentine Mediation. If I feel that I can catch them before they are ready to throw in their hands and their towels and just say, you know what, I'm calling it quits. What can I do to help them? And in the process, it's just welcoming them, letting them know, and giving them a disclaimer that, hey, you know, even though I'm coming from this Christian perspective, I'm not here to judge you. I'm a real person with real problems just like everyone else. The only difference is that I've had some training in peacemaking and conflict resolution, and so I can absolutely help them through that.
What kind of training have you had?
I have a bachelor's in restorative justice, which is through Fresno Pacific University.
What is that?
Restorative justice is an alternative to the judicial system. It gives parties another way to figure out how to work through their issues. And essentially, our criminal justice system is, if there's a crime that has been committed, the crime is against the state, and the victim is taken out of the picture totally. But with restorative justice, you are able to figure out, well, what is it that I've done to harm you? What can I do to make things as right as possible?
Okay.
And how do I clarify our future intentions? And this program comes through.
We actually have
Dr.
a
Ron
brave
Clausen.
caller who called in today. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, welcome.
Are you there,
Hi,
caller?
yeah. I want to ask you a question here.
Sure.
I'm a man of 65 years old, but in my younger days, I made the mistake, and I want her to answer it. So she's kind of the one that keeps the peace. But I had the misfortune of going the other way with someone else. Okay, and my wife was not able to cope with that. You know, I mean, we fell apart of it. You know, I mean, it was one of those things that it happened once and that was it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'm one of those guys that just fell into a trap.
Yeah.
You know, many men don't want to admit to it that we are the cause of the problem.
Let me, hey, caller, let me
Yes.
interrupt you right there. Did you cheat on your wife? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you just come out and say it. No problem.
I
just
understand
wanted,
that.
well, I just wanted to clarify in case the viewers did not know. And go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm not one to say, well, I did or not, or she did or not. It wasn't her. It was me. Okay? So the problem was, how could I bring back, you know, how we say, bring back the confidence that I would no longer do it again, you know. So this went in for a long time, and we separated for about a year. Kind of air out the problem, because, you know, it was one of those things that I had to do, and we both agreed to it. A couple of years later, we got back together because she saw that it was something that happened, and that was it. You know, talking to her friends, which kind of helped kind of take the problem away. Because men tend to, if you get into a situation where you talk with other men, they're not going to say, oh, no, you did right. No. We always blame the woman, okay, like I said. But I wish I'd had someone like you 35 years ago or 40 years ago. Okay, we got back together, everything went well, okay? But at the same time, the trust that okay, this was she no longer had the trust in me because she said, well, if you did it once, he'll do it again, but I'm going to test him anyway.
Okay, hey, caller, I'm going to have to ask you to let Camille, you're going on and on and on. We kind of get the gist of it. Let her try to answer your question, would you?
Well, caller, I appreciate your honesty in you coming forward with this type of confession, if you will. And you mentioned something very important, and the word that you used was trust. And the reason why the two of you were able to reconcile and get back together is because there was an opportunity for trust to be reestablished. Now, normally everyone doesn't get that opportunity. And when trust has been broken, the only way that you are able to rebuild that trust is to make and keep agreements. And it's basically, trust is if it's in a bucket of water, you do something wrong, whether it's infidelity or whatnot, you are kicking over the bucket of water and now you have to place it back up again, and it's essentially empty until you create and keep those agreements. And we learn those types of things in our program over at Fresno Pacific.
Yeah. You there? You still there, caller?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah. Did you hear the answer?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. Does that help you a little bit? Does that kind of answer your question?
Oh, yeah. But in my case, it's different, too, because I lost my wife 4 years ago. Okay. We were almost married 38 years. Okay. So, but I mean, at the same time, I never remarried. Okay. We had 3 kids. My oldest one would have been, she's just turned 39, and the youngest one's 26. So, it was a hard thing for me, too. When I lost her, I felt guilty of what I had done, but I'm in peace now. So you're a person I could have used many years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
That's
good
encouraging.
Good call. So when you enter into some of these conflict resolution or peacemaking situations, and you're sitting across the table from these couples, is trust usually the main issue, or if not, what is the main issue?
Trust could be a main factor in the parties in their inability to create a resolution, because there's different types of mediations. Well, I should say there's different types of styles that a mediator would use to help couples or parties through their situations. And one is, are we reconciling an injustice, or are we reconciling an interests? For example, an interest is basically the money. You did something to me, I let you borrow some money, you weren't able to pay it back, and so now I need to know, how can I get that money back? That's an interest. How can I create an agreement where you're going to pay me back? But an injustice, for example, for married couples, if there's domestic violence in the relationship that corroded it, or if there's infidelity and things like that, the trust has been broken, and so there's an injustice that has occurred in the marriage, and that injustice has to be recognized. And the only ways that you can recognize the injustice is to say, hey, this is what I did, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I hurt you in this way. And for some people, an apology goes so far. I had one case where this was a young couple in medical school, and this whole case was hinged upon an apology, a sincere apology.
Okay, we're talking with Camille Valentine. She's a mediator and a peacemaker for the court system here in the city of Fresno and the county. And if you don't want to go face a judge, you're going through a divorce, you might end up talking to Camille. And 436-MeTV option 11, call in. Talk to her, ask the question. We'll be here for the full 60 minutes up until 11 o'clock.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call solar negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call solar negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
We're back here with Camille Valentine. By the way, what do you charge an hour?
It really depends. If it's inside of our Fresno Pacific Mediation Services Family Division program, then there's a sliding fee scale based on each person's income.
Give me a range.
A range could be 0 to 20,000. It's anywhere between $35, $40.
0 to 20,000.
Yeah, we serve the indigent community.
No, the cost.
And exactly, if they're falling in between a certain range in their income.
Oh, I
then
see. No, what do you
charge
charge
for my services?
Yeah, give us
it's just a flat $200 per hour, and it's split between the parties.
Oh, I see.
So it becomes very affordable.
Charge 20 grand for an hour. That's no. I understand now. Let me ask you a serious topic, though, a real serious topic. And that is what's been in the news lately with this running back for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sure you heard about it. The football player, the video that came out on TMZ, him slugging his wife and this and that. Just, I want your comments about that. And how do you resolve that situation? I mean,
domestic violence is a real issue in our community, in all of our communities.
How do you get over not, I mean, it was so sickening, almost to the point of wanting to vomit, to hit someone to cold cock somebody like that. I mean, that's something that you don't do unless you're being attacked by, you know, someone while you're entering your car, or someone breaks into your house. But how do you do that to the person that you love?
You know, I don't think that I can actually effectively answer that question, because domestic violence not only is a physical, the aspects of domestic violence is not only physical, but there's mental abuse, there's psychological abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, as well as the physical part of it. And so all of them can be very damaging to a person's emotional and psychological well-being. And what I like to address in my practice with Valentine mediation is I use what is called the VORP process, the victim offender reconciliation process, where if that abuser is willing to make a change or repent, turn away from the ways in which they are going about handling their conflict, they're just not taught how to deal with differences effectively. And so they think that using violence or coercive power will do it, then that's what they're going to use. But a person who's a victim of abuse, they need to get out.
But I want to know specifically, if you were counseling them today, what would you tell them? How would you do it?
I'm not a counselor. I'm a mediator, and it's based upon their objectives. What is it that they want? If they want to continue with the relationship, then let's identify what it is that's wrong, for one, and secondly, what can you do to make it right? And thirdly, how can you clarify the future intentions, which specifically would include, okay, if this situation happens again, then what is the prescription? Which could include, I'll get a restraining order, or you'll leave willingly, or you'll go to jail, I'll call the police, things like that.
And what do you make of some of the people who actually blame the victim in this case? I can think of one sportscaster who was recently suspended because they asked his opinion on the air, and he basically said he blamed her for going back to him. That was his opinion. What do you make of some comments like that?
That's a really, really difficult one, because, you know, the mind of a victim is complex. And a lot of times there are cultural reasons why people stay. There are family reasons why a person would stay in an abusive relationship if there are children involved. Oh, you know, I've got to do this for my children, or I was not raised like that. I do not believe in divorce. I believe in sticking it out, you know, through and through, even until my death. There's many reasons why a victim would choose to stay in an abusive relationship. There's hope for some people. And of course, as a person who believes in reconciliation, there's always a chance that that abuser can turn away from how they're going about handling their differences or their conflict. And, I serve a God of a second chance, but if that person is not going to do right by the other person and want to cause them harm, then at some point in time, the victim has to make a decision that's best for their lives. And each case is different.
Yeah. And so what did you first think of the situation when you heard about this Ray Rice deal?
It's very sad. It's very sad, and unfortunately, it's very common, I believe. A lot of times we are not aware of what people are going through in their marriages and in their relationships, and it's very disheartening. And I can only hope that as my work, as my calling as a mediator, is to try to bring some of these issues to the forefront and deal with them in a way that's constructive.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, with football, I mean, I've been around pro sports all my life. I used to be a sportscaster and covered many 49er and Raider games.
Yeah,
so
you have that voice.
I've seen these guys up close and personal. They are huge.
Yes.
Huge guys with huge hands.
Yes.
Huge bodies. I was thinking, he's lucky, she's lucky too, he didn't kill her with a punch like that. You could easily knock somebody out and kill them, put them unconscious,
Absolutely.
kill them. Brain hemorrhage, whatever the case may be, but you could easily severely damage a person. Other than what he did to her was just unacceptable. And how do you think the National Football League is responding, in your opinion? They're under fire right now because did they see the tape before the, were they honest about seeing it? They claim they hadn't seen it prior to the 2-game suspension. Now they're backtracking. I really don't know what's going on, but who's telling the truth? But should the NFL be held accountable?
The accountability, I believe, falls on the two parties that is involved in this particular situation.
Certainly not the victim.
And
right?
I don't want to place blame on any one person. What I'm saying is that the accountability should fall between the two people that it actually occurred.
But I mean, no matter what happened or what occurred between the two, there's no excuse for
Absolutely.
cold-cocking somebody
Absolutely.
like that. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. There's no excuse for beating a child. There's no excuse for murderers. There's no excuse for rapists. There's no excuse for any one person that violates another human being. But who am I to judge anyone? All I can say is that there are services out there for each person, and perhaps they just need to get the help.
Do you help couples that are in situations like this?
I absolutely do, and I have domestic violence mediation that's specific to these types of cases.
Yeah. All right. Call in. We're talking to Camille Valentine. She's a peacemaker and a mediator. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We have an open line, so call in. Back in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
We're back here on the program talking with Camille Valentine. She's a mediator and a peacemaker, and she can help you if you want help. You have to go seek it, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You're not going to go seeking them. They have to come to you. Is that right?
That is correct. I need both parties to make a decision that that is what they would like to do. And the reason why that is, John, is because mediation is, for one, it's confidential. So everything we talk about will be in confidence. Secondly, it's voluntary. Parties, they should not come if they do not want to come. I stress that very, very seriously in all of my cases, where I want your voluntary consent. I want to make sure that you're here because you want to be here, not because you feel forced in any way. And also the process is self-determining, meaning that I'm not an attorney. I'm not there to tell them what to do, although I have experience that will help them and guide them through. It's still their process, and their voice has to be heard for an agreement to be made. My job is to help facilitate a constructive conversation.
Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
And I have two questions for your guest. We know that abusive relationships sometimes can be traced back to the perpetrator's childhood. Maybe that person was abused or even beaten as a child. Do you see that in the course of your work, your experience, you see that this is a perpetuating thing, or is it possible break the cycle of violence that seems to plague, I guess, particularly at those at the poverty level. Do you,
Yes.
as a
Yes, I
as an
do.
experienced professional,
I do see that a lot of times the abuse is coming from a learned behavior that stems from their childhood. And yes, there is an opportunity for people to break the cycle of violence. I am certainly one that can attest to that. I witnessed my mother and my father have domestic disputes that was traumatizing, and
It got physical?
absolutely, it got physical, and I found myself even in an abusive relationship. But you have to be able to, I had to
When
be
was
able
that?
to recognize that there was a problem, because a lot of times it's as if you're in this pot, you're the frog, and this you're on low, you're simmering, and all of a sudden you don't know when it's really starting to boil.
When were you in this abusive relationship?
I've with my husband, we have fallen into these types of patterns, and through my training, I had to recognize some things about my own self, and through that process, this is how I'm able to help other people, because I've been through it. I've seen it in my own childhood. I've seen it in my own communities, and I recognize that it's not only in my own relationship,
Yeah.
John. And I find that it's not just something that is prevalent in the lower economic segments of life. It goes through every segment of life. There's from high class, middle class to low class. This is something that has to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed with love and compassion, and with an opportunity for people to figure out how to work
What's
things
the root
through.
of the problem, do you think, with this? Where does it stem from?
I think the root of the problem, John, is that people are not trained on how to deal with their conflicts.
No, but is it? No, but what I mean by that, let me rephrase that. Is it about control?
Sometimes it can be about control or power,
having
or the lack
control
thereof,
over everything,
or insecurities. I mean, it can go. It depends on the person.
But don't these generally stem from having control over the marriage or the relationship or the person or
the money, the finances,
the whole picture? Having control. Doesn't it start there?
It does start there. It does start there. But I believe that that's
Isn't
not
that the original
blanket prescription for why it all starts. I think that's one of the causes of a person having to use domestic violence as a way to get their way.
In most cases, it's about control, is it not?
Yes, I believe in most cases you probably would make a right statement. But for me as a mediator, I'm looking at, I just fall back on my training, and we are trained by Dr. Ron Clausen. He is one of the founders over at the Victim Offender Reconciliation Program in the Center for Peacemaking. And he has what is called the 4 options model. And the 4 models, number 1 is basically the coercive power, where the power lies in a particular situation, and how that person will try to make the other person do what they want them to do without their consent. And then the second option is, this is where you'll need a third party, like a judge, to make some decisions for you. And third option is, okay, this is where a mediator comes into play and helps the parties work things through. And the last option is where you don't need any help at all, any outside assistance. You're able to negotiate like regular consenting adults and work things through. And I would like to think that it's better if parties are able to flip the diagram and start with number 4, with working things through on their own. But if they're not successful, then call in the outside help, like myself or someone like myself. And if you're not successful through mediation, then you go to the court system. You fall back on the court's process to assist you.
And what is the court process?
For
what do you do?
Well, what I do in my job is
No, not what you do personally, but I'm talking about the court process. If you have to go to court, what happens?
Then what you'll do is you'll file a request for order, or if you need to file a restraining order, if you need to file custody papers, you'll figure out where your department is in the CISC building, whether it's family. The Self-Help Center is an excellent resource for those who are not, that don't have money, and they're in pro per, they're doing things on their own. But the second floor is your family court level. The third floor is your probate level. Fourth floor is civil, is where
Yes.
where my office is. And then you have the the fifth floor, which we like to call the penthouse because it's the alternative dispute resolution department. And this is where a lot of other magic happens. And so this is where people will generally go when they have issues that they were not successful in working out on their own.
Okay, we've got a call coming in. Good morning, caller. What's your question?
Well, my question is, what do you do if the court system isn't doing what they're supposed to do? In my custody hearing, the judge has been banned on 4 of the hearings. They've been seen by 3 other judges, but her signature's on everything. I honestly wish I had this lady to go to before my counseling stuff, because our mediators, she lied 28 times in one hearing. The other mediator lied 14 times. We definitely need a person like this in charge of our mediation downtown.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Well, thank you for your comment, and it's definitely a situation that is not uncommon. There is a different type of mediation that has occurred, and it's through the family court services, and they've changed their names now to child recommending counselors because they would then, from the mediation process, recommend to the judge at some point, and now they've gotten away from that. So I believe that there is a shift occurring in the court system, but I believe I'm the only peacemaker in the court system, and so all I can say is that you're still able to try to work your issues out through mediation. That is the best prescription, is to try to come to an agreement.
He sounds frustrated. What should he do in his case if he can't see the judge that signed the papers?
You know, once you're in the system, all you can do is petition the court by submitting a request for order for them to hear the issue.
I've done that.
And
I've done that 4 different times.
What type of case is this?
Allen Hill somehow has been on every single signature, yet it was heard by Adolfo Corona, Nystrom, Geist, and Kazarian.
Okay, but again, what type of case is this? Because Judge Allen Hill is now over. Okay.
Custody of the children.
Okay,
the
so
mediator
custody.
perjured herself 28 times in my hearing, 16 times in another hearing. Her name's Terry Rowland. And another time, she lied on every single bit of it.
Well, I apologize for your experience, and unfortunately, I can't speak to, what other people do. I can only fall back on what my experience is and what I can do.
My daughter's been molested. My son's been abused. What can I do?
Any
I'm
advice?
not quite sure. I really don't know what to do because my authority in the court. My authority in the court only goes so far when there's an order in place, when there's judges already involved in the process. All I can do is help you and your wife or ex-wife come together to try to see what you can do on your own to work out an agreement and then submit the agreement to the court. That is an acceptable form for what I can do.
Do the courts listen to your recommendation more than they would another mediation?
Well, I don't recommend anything. What I do is work with parties and help them come up with an agreement, and the agreement that is reached, yes, they will accept and honor the agreement.
You're awesome. I'll definitely be giving you a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you.
How does one get in touch with you? Give out your phone number if you would. An
Absolutely.
office number.
Absolutely. Feel free to give us a call at 559-455-3080. And feel free to check out my website, which is valentine-mediation.com, or the program's website over at Fresno Pacific, which is mediation-services.co.
Well, what's that number again? 455-3080?
455-3080.
3080. All right, back with Camille Valentine here on Connect with Me. Your phone calls are more than welcome. We have an open line, so call in. Back in a moment. Back here on the show on Connect with Me, and Camille Valentine is here. She's a mediator and a peacemaker. So that last caller sounded very frustrated, especially when talking about the child being, being molested. We don't know the particulars of that case because we know nothing about it. But if you were to advise him, what should he do in that case? Should he file a police report or what?
Generally, if he's been through so many different courtrooms, the Child Protective Services has already been in place. Anyone who feels that their child has been taken advantage of in any way would contact the appropriate authorities. And so my assumption is that those things have already been done, and he's just trying to figure out, how do I get out of this situation? How can I resolve this so that he can move on with his life? And my heart goes out to cases like that, because it does happen where people are frustrated being shifted from one court to the other court. And all I can say is that the court is very open to hearing suggestions and ways that they can possibly service the court's clients better.
Yeah. Is money an issue too with couples that come in? I know control, we talked about control. Let's talk about some of the other issues. Infidelity, money, all of the above. What's the main issue that you see?
The main issue that I see really is a breakdown in communication. One person is saying something and the message that they're sending is not being received in the ways in which they would like for it to.
Take a call here. Good morning, caller.
Sure.
What's your question?
This is a caller calling back again. I did call CPS. If you type in on YouTube, Fresno CPS, you can see that they laugh that my son has a handprint on him. They won't give me ID and fail to show me ID. If you typed in YouTube, Fresno CPS, you can watch it.
Thank you very much. And they were basically asking a question as to what would one person do in your situation. Are you to call the authorities? Are you to, contact Child Protective Services? And you're confirming what I suggested is usually in this case, or these types of cases where you've been through so many different courtrooms, you've already done your due diligence on this and you're looking for a resolution, correct?
I'm looking to try to protect my children.
Absolutely. Are they still in your care?
Well, 63% of the day, but my problem also is they've missed 101 days of school. My daughter, simply. And she's only in second grade.
I understand. And so have you, for more complicated cases, it seems as if an attorney would best suit your situation.
I can't find an attorney who will take this because somehow it's involved with Brian Tatarian and 4 judges. Nobody wants to take it.
I understand. And see, and John, that's unfortunate as well, because there are cases that are falling through the cracks where they're not able to receive the proper assistance for whatever reason. And that's a really good question. What are we to do with these types of cases?
Why are you calling? You still there?
I'm stuck.
Caller, you said you tried to get an attorney to take this case. Why won't they take it? Is it money? Is it a money issue?
There's something to do. I don't understand it quite. I don't know what ramifications are on it or what power this guy's got. But he put 2 lifetime restraining orders on me with no proof of service, and there was the custody judge in my custody hearing requested by the Marjorie Mason Center. None of this makes any sense. I can't do anything right to protect my kids. I've called every agency. I've called everybody. That's why I watch John's show every morning. I'm hoping that, dear God, I can find somebody. You got a kicking show, John.
Oh, thank you. What do you do in a case that, has a restraining order in place? Nothing, I guess.
Well, I'm able to assist parties that have a restraining order in place, but again, it's still based on their willingness to cooperate with one another and work out an agreement. But it sounds
so you
as
can
if
still
this
see
case,
them even though
yes,
they're
I can still see them.
Okay.
But the cases that I've generally seen, they're not as complex and complicated as this caller's
you
case.
can still see them together?
I can still see them, but I'd like to have them in separate rooms. So I'll do the diplomatic shuffle and meet with one party in one room and meet with the other party in the other room.
But you can't meet with them together then?
If they choose to, the court is sort of like neutral grounds. But if a person prefers to not meet with that party in the same room, they don't need a restraining order to say that. It's just that's my method to ensure safety. And we have panic buttons and things like that in case things get out of hand. And I generally will take those cases at the Alternative Dispute Resolution Department.
What's that?
Say again, caller.
There's no restraining orders.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said there were. Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
and I'm sorry I'm not able
that.
to provide more of assistance with this particular type of case. But again, my job as a mediator and peacemaker is to try to work with parties who want to cooperate with one another voluntarily.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say to the caller and to our viewers, you're a voluntary service. There's no requirement for couples or individuals to go see you. They go see you voluntarily because they want the help. They want to try to avoid going to court. Because once they go to court, you could end up in this situation where this young man is calling in, same thing, where you can't see the judge that signed the papers, or you leave your fate in the hands of a judge. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Instead of making your own decision and making your own arrangement and agreement and presenting it to the court.
Absolutely.
Am I right about that?
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. And I believe that that's why, you know, that's how the magic in mediation occurs, is because parties are doing this because they want to do it, not because they're feeling forced in any way. And the reason why some of the agreements that are being forced on parties through the courts system are not being kept is because, for one, sometimes they're just unrealistic. For example, for child support, let's take that. Parties are saying, you know what, I want you to pay child support. I'm going to go ahead and file a request for order for the judge to make you pay child support. But the order that is made may not be what you can actually afford. It's not including what your normal bills are and how you're going to live. And so when parties are coming to see me, it's based on classic negotiations, as I was explaining before in the 4 options model. What is it that you need, party A, and what is it that you can pay, party B? And let's talk about what can we do to meet each other in the middle so that that agreement can be honored.
Well, here's the thing. We got to go to break. We're talking with Camille Valentine, a mediator and a peacemaker. And, you know, I know you said you charge $200 an hour, but when you consider how much divorce attorneys cost in general, or how much it costs to go to court, $200, you know, for an hour or whatever it is, sounds pretty reasonable compared to the other rates that are going on in court, and if you want to go see an attorney.
Absolutely.
We're back in a moment here on Connect with Me, 436-ME-TV, option 11, in a moment.
Considering solar? Whether you're ready to buy now or just exploring your options, the consultants at Solar Negotiators are here to help you. A call to Solar Negotiators is like calling 5 solar companies at once. You see, when local established solar contractors have gaps in their schedule, they call Solar Negotiators to fill them. Right now, get 5 years of panel cleaning and maintenance or $1,000 off your new solar panels. So stop wasting your time searching and call Solar Negotiators, because when contractors compete for your business, you win.
Hey, we're back here on the show talking mediation, and, you know, go back to that you know, that famous quote, can't we all just get along?
Right. I really
guess
wish.
We can't.
No, conflict is constant. And so if you're not trained
it's as old as dirt.
Right.
It's as old as dirt.
Right.
It's always going to be there, right?
We need to figure it out.
All right. Caller, what's your question?
Sympathy's got to go out to that earlier caller, the one that's got the kids involved in a custody battle, I guess with his ex-wife or the mother of the kids, whatever, and a possible case of abuse. I'd like to put something out there for consideration. We've got these so-called children advocacy organizations in the county, in the city, and what comes to mind, number one, is First Five. Now, they're going to spend $20 million on a big showcase building across from in the back of the library parking lot. Do they have a legal services department or an advocacy service that could reach out to a man or a woman in a situation like this where they've been, I don't know, spurned or rejected by the courts, and they can't have their voices are not being heard, and children are being harmed? There's got to be something more immediate. What about legal counsel? What if he were to seek out legal counsel and file a request for an order for a reversal or a reconsideration?
Hey, so what's up with that $20 million building? Why does First Five need a $20 million building? What are they? Is it the Taj Mahal or what?
It's a sore spot with me. I personally would rather see the money spent where it needs to be spent, on the impoverished youth, the undereducated, those that are falling through the cracks, like your guest was saying earlier, are falling through the cracks in the justice system, in the education system, social services system, healthcare. I think it's a black eye for our community, and it certainly is leaving a bad taste in everybody's mouth over this First Five thing. However, I must admit that heads have already rolled over that project. The former head of First Five, I believe, got the axe and quickly disappeared and was replaced by a lower profile director. But that's neither here nor there. I still think that it was money that could have been better spent as
point taken, caller. Point taken.
Relief aid to our kids.
Got it.
And what I'd like to add on a positive note is that my plan is to continue to reach out to these types of agencies and offer my services so that I can be of a service to the community that is in need.
Yeah, that sounds like that money is going towards the building, high salaries for the executives in there. Maybe that's why the head of the organization was shown the door. I don't know.
We'll never know.
No, we'll never know. And I don't want to prejudge, but it sounds like the money's not going in the right place. Whether it's going in somebody's pocket or whether it's going toward that building or whatever, the Taj Mahal. You don't need a $20 million building for First Five to do good things for kids, do you? No,
you don't. In fact, if there's any persons in the audience that are watching, I find that a lot of people would love to use my services and they're just not in a position to do so, but they desperately need the assistance. And so if you want to donate, if you want to provide funds for those types of people, I will certainly accept donations so that I can be of a service to them and help them.
What do you think of First Five?
Well, I don't really know too much about them to give an opinion on them. I feel that if there's any agency here that's wanting to be of assistance to the community and want to help them, then I'm certainly on board with that. As far as, what happens in the upper levels and why they're spending money this way and that way, I try not to get involved in all of those types of things. I try to stay focused on my work. There's a lot of people that need help, and my job is to help them.
It's almost like the educational system. They need all these Taj Mahals and these great schools built and all these executives making all this money, but where's that? Why is it then that teachers and parents are asked to buy supplies each and every year? I thought the schools had all the money. Where's all the money? It's in somebody's pocket, Camille. Good morning. You're on Connect with me. Go ahead.
Hi, I've been trying to call in a few times and have had my been on mute. So first thing, John, I have to ask you, when do you guys replay your shows? On what channel? And then I have a question for your guest.
Okay, we got to make this quick because we're short on time. The replay comes in at between 2 and 3 o'clock on YouTube 13.6 and Biz TV 13.5, 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. Okay. So what's your question? What's your question? Quickly.
My question is, I've been hearing on and off about CPS. I know I'm aware of a situation. I don't know the girl's last name. She's had 3 children removed already from her home. The first one was born addicted to OxyContin and heroin. The second one was born addicted to methamphetamine. Or actually, the third one was born addicted to methamphetamine. That child was removed by the judge. That child was born in 2013, the beginning of the summer. Immediately removed and was adopted out. However, in 2014, there is a new child in the house. I have to speak quietly. I'm sorry.
But you're going to have to, ma'am, we're limited.
Anyway, what I'm trying to ask you is, the 4th child that is now in the home. There's maggots in the house. The baby.
Well, caller, I'm not a child protective services. I don't know about their policies and practices, so my specialty is in peacemaking and conflict resolution, and if you have a question related to that, I'd love to answer it.
Yeah, she was talking about a child in danger, I would assume, like that 4th child. Did you get that out of that?
I am, but what I'm saying is that we're getting out of my lane, and
You're getting out of your comfort zone because you're not. She's not an expert in child protective services.
Right.
So she is for conflict resolution. This is for couples that are having problems, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a marriage, and they're going in to see her voluntarily. how do you resolve these issues? But
thank you.
Okay, but you do have issues when couples come to see you, and one of those issues is children.
That is correct.
So
well,
how do you deal with that?
Focusing on the topic for the children and for parties who are divorcing specifically, I like to give them a little bit of a disclaimer, and it's just letting them know that, you know, if you're going to part and go your separate ways, you're still going to be a family, even as divorced couples. And so I try to tell them that neither party shall say anything in the presence of the child that will diminish the love and affection that the child will have for the other parent.
It's easy to
and
say
give them
that,
things
Camille,
like
but
that.
That's not reality. It's
but
not
the bottom
going to
line is
happen.
sometimes, John, they are just not aware of how to behave as separate people. And
Camille,
yes, John.
I'm talking reality.
I'm
You're
talking reality,
You're
too.
talking theory. I mean,
No,
I
I'm not.
don't mean to put you on the spot,
No,
but
it's all
listen,
right.
I'm a single parent. I'm
Yes.
divorced. That's not always possible. It just isn't. It's
You
not
know,
reality.
All you can do is lay it out there, and each person has to make a choice. And that choice is, are you going to poke holes in your son or daughter's heart every time you talk badly about their parent?
I'm not saying I talk
Kids
badly.
love both
Right.
mom and dad. Bottom line, it doesn't matter. Even kids who are abused by their parents, they
Right.
still, studies show that they still love them. And so I try to help the adults see that it is their choice to help develop their child in a
Right.
positive environment, and the ways in which they can do that is to shield them from
But
their
see,
drama.
I don't want to give people a false sense of reality that they're going to go see you or someone like you, and after they walk out the door, everything's going to be hunky-dory from that point on, forever and ever and ever. Because
That's not what I'm saying,
no,
though, John.
No. I didn't say you said that, but situations come up, things
Yes.
happen, conflicts happen, whether you're divorced or not.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying, I never did say, and I never would talk bad about my ex in front of my kids. Never have and never will. If I have something to say, I'll say
You're
it
special.
to her. I'll say it to her, to her face, or in an email or something of that nature, but not in front of the children.
But not everyone knows that.
Right.
Not everyone has it in them to do that naturally. And in fact, it's
Right.
the opposite. They
But
are
isn't that the way
openly
somebody should
telling
do
them.
it? Should I not tell my ex something if I'm dissatisfied to her face instead of in front of the children?
Yes, that's correct.
Am I right about
Yes,
that?
you are right about that. And what I'm talking about is shielding the children from the parental drama. It's shielding them
Right.
from that so that they can not be a part of it and,
All right.
and have parents.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to call and let you know, John, it does work if both parents are doing it for the best interest of the children. The same caller's been calling in. One thing I have found with my baby's mother is if we both look out for the best interest of the child, I mean, we're never going to get along. We both know that. But as long as we do everything for the best interest of the kid, there's no matter the kids are going to win, and that's what we need.
That's very, very
No,
well said,
I
caller.
totally understand that. Yeah, I'm not stupid. I know that.
Well, I know that, or you wouldn't have a show.
No, I know
Thanks,
that.
caller.
I know that. No. Caller, are you still
You guys
there?
have a good one, man. God bless you, sweetie.
Thank you. Bless you too,
Hey, caller,
bro.
are you still there? Caller. I
No,
guess he's
think
gone.
he's gone.
He's gone. He's calling in to give me advice. That's okay. Not a problemo. I just wanted to ask him how long he's been divorced and what his situation is, because, you know, it's not easy being a single parent. There are issues
Right.
that come up with the kids all the time, and you're not always going to get along with your
Right.
ex. It's a fact of life. You know, so.
So I would just say stay tuned to my website. I'll post
Yeah.
up when I'm having different workshops to help them learn about their conflict management
They're
styles.
telling me to go to break, so I got to go to break. 436 Me TV option 11. Back here in just a moment.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country. The only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
All right, we're back here with Camille Valentine and having a little conflict of interest here, right here on the set. That we need a little mediation. We need some peacemaker to come in. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
I'll
kidding.
just touch
We're
it
di-
here and
we're
leave
di-
my
we're
spirit.
we're disagreeing a little bit because, or are we? Are we on the same page?
We are on the same page.
Okay, because there can be a conflict between the exes. You're just saying don't do it in front of the kids.
Absolutely. I'm
And
saying
I agree with that.
have some respect for the children, and if parties are making agreements for the best interest of the children, more than likely they're going to come to an agreement. And I believe that that's a little bit a part of or the secret to my success, because I have a pretty good resolution rate that is in upwards of 80%.
Right.
So
And
that's what I get them to see.
You have to have the kids' interest at heart.
Yes, that's
the
correct.
first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that what you tell them in terms of the kids?
In terms of the children, we start off with just my little disclaimer about this is some,
what do you do?
Some suggestions on how to
when you have
move
a
forward.
disagreement, when the mother comes in and says, oh, I want the kids Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can have them the rest of the time, and the father says, no, I don't like that schedule. I don't want that. How do you resolve that issue?
Well, I try to help them explain why they want a particular schedule. Why is it that you want Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays? And sometimes it's because of their work schedule or school or things like that. And so it's just talking to one another and communicating in a way that the other person can understand, and with the understanding will bring forth compassion, and with compassion, with having the best interest for the kids or the child, they'll work it out. It just takes a little bit of coaching and facilitating, but we generally will come to an agreement.
And if there's one party that wants the kids more than the other party, like say 4 days a week as opposed to 3, how do you resolve that issue?
Well, I believe the issues would be, I want sole legal custody and the other party wants joint legal custody. And if we're not able to come to an agreement on that, then they are able to file a request for order for the court, and then they'll go through the family court services process.
And how does a court determine whether or not you get legal full custody? Or
you know, they take them through a process as well. I can't go into what their process is, but if they're not able to reach it themselves, then they certainly have the next step to help them out.
All right. Caller, I'm not going to let you ramble on. This better be quick, quick with a question. No rambling.
Number one, I want to congratulate your guests on their 80% success rate. That's great. And in conflict resolution with couples, do you find that maybe the maturity level or the one half of the couple maybe has more growing up to do? Do you find that you have one mature, one immature member of the couple in your experience?
That's a very good question, caller. Thank you so much. I like to look at it as a form of ripeness. One person may be ripe in terms of wanting to resolve an issue, and the other person may still be battling with their own internal feelings and injustices. And so sometimes we've got to bring out the other stuff that brought them there to deal with that, and then they're able to move forward. But so it may not be a maturity factor. It's more about ripeness for the case. And so when both parties are in perfect alignment, then yes, we can move forward toward an agreement and towards reconciliation.
Yeah. Okay. Give out your phone number one more time, because we've got about a minute left.
Okay. Definitely. I have a Facebook page. That's where you'll find a lot of other good, helpful tips about peacemaking and conflict resolution. Valentine Mediation on Facebook. You can contact me at 559-455-3080 or check out our website, valentine-mediation.com. Thank you.
The biggest thing is to stay calm, right? And that's hard to do sometimes because emotions run wild. Isn't that right?
You just breathe. Yes.
Isn't that right? People get emotional. They get upset.
It's very, very emotionally charged. And the secret is to take one issue at a time.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. It's hard to calm down. I noticed that one caller that called in today, he was pretty hyped up when he first called in, but he settled down quite a bit when he called in a little bit later in the program. And that's, so when you calm down, you have a much more clear mind and heart.
Absolutely. When you're dealing with matters of the heart and your kids are involved, you're going to be a little charged up. Probably not more than just a little. You're going to be a lot of charged up. So it's okay. It takes patience. It takes understanding and compassion to help parties work through those types of issues.
All right,
Thanks,
Camille.
John. It's
Good
been a
to see
pleasure.
You. All right.
Good to see
Thank
you too.
you. Come back
Thank
again,
you.
Camille. Love to have you.
Keep the peace. Thank you.
All right. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Too.
All right, Camille Valentine, a peacemaker here on the program today, and a mediator. Back on Monday with a guest from the Business Journal here in the city of Fresno. Have a great weekend, and go San Francisco Giants.